Hello everyone, welcome. I am Miles at Miles in Color everywhere online. Welcome to episode number 5 of Behind the Edit. This is a video series where I walk you through an edit. I don't live edit it. It's not like a tutorial, but you're gonna see how I turned this photo of my friend Twee into this photo. This was a super fun composite that I did in Photoshop, and I'm just gonna walk you through all the steps of how I got all these disco balls flying through the sky and the colors and just all of that fun stuff. Please, before we get started, head over to my Instagram and hit that follow button at Miles in Color, and also follow baby Twee on Instagram, as well as her clothing brand. She's not just a model, she's also the CEO of Retro and Groovy, so check that page out as well. Okay, let's just hop straight into Photoshop and get this thing started. Alrighty, so here is, for reference, the before image one more time before we hop into Photoshop. Okay, so after a few moments in Lightroom, you guys kind of know the drill. I boost my shadows, I boost my exposure, I drop my highlights a little bit, and then I mess around with the blues. I deepen them, I saturate my blues, I saturate my aquas, and then I mess with the camera calibration inside of Lightroom to get a kind of teal-orange effect. I'll make my own little tutorial about getting blue tones in Photoshop, but that's how I do it. Please keep in mind, to get blue tones, you have to have some kind of blue inside of the image. So I have a blue sky, blue jeans, and I shot this with the white balance a little cool. So instead of it being warmer, I'm not getting all these like orange and yellow and red tones on her skin and the whole environment. I'm getting a more blue and kind of magenta tone. Okay, so you might notice a strange border around the image, and that's because I actually chose to stretch the image. Like, I wanted some more space around Twee here. This was shot in Joshua Tree, California, an amazing location, and we just happened to have this disco ball, and I was like, hey, like, let's do a set with this. Let's do a little disco ball photo shoot. And here is the next layer. Boom. Okay, so you already see we have so much more space to work with. It just makes me a bit more happy to have that extra space, because I wanted to have, you know, a nice landscape where all the disco balls could be floating around. It just made more sense to me in my head, and the original shot was a little claustrophobic for me. So the way I did that, basically, I'm going to try to modify this. Thank you, Photoshop, for letting me do that. So you press M to get your marquee tool, and you click and drag on just the edge of this image here. Mine's a circle. Why is my marquee a circle? We want a square. I don't know what happened, guys. Okay, there we go. Rectangle. There we are. So you're gonna click and drag. You're gonna click V, right? We get these little boxes here. And in an Adobe Photoshop CC 2019, you're going to hold Shift and just drag to the right here. See? So we filled in that space right there. Click Enter. We're gonna do the same with the top of the image. So click and drag and click V and just drag it to the top. So that's how I extended all of the edges of the photo, and you can just see here, boom, that is what we got. And now we're going to hop in and actually grab a sample of the disco ball that she's holding. So I'm going to zoom here a little bit, and I believe I just used the quick select tool, or what is it called, the magic wand? A quick selection, yeah. And that, you can access that by clicking W. I'm gonna increase the size of it by clicking my right bracket here, and I just drug around here. This is actually super tricky because it didn't want to select the disco ball, it wanted to select everything else. And guys, the reason I don't do like a live editing tutorial on here is because I had to like clone stamp out. See, here's our disco ball that we're gonna use. It'd be weird if we had floating hands around, right? So I had to literally clone stamp out and like fix a disco ball by itself. Okay, that was kind of difficult. So that's why I didn't do like the live edit, but that's how I got the disco ball sample. I cloned out her hand and all that stuff, all that fun stuff. And I'm going to zoom out here and check this out. That was very anticlimactic. There it is. Okay, there's all the disco balls. So it's the same disco ball, just sampled around the whole image. I took her hand out of them, and then I just added some blur. So if you're going to do a composite, I highly recommend adding blur to, you know, if you're gonna have like some levitating things around your subject. And if you shot the image at like, you know, 1.4 or 1.8, you should definitely be adding blur to the objects, because treat the photo like it's been taken to the camera, right? Like, you don't want everything to be in focus, because these disco balls up here are obviously far away. This one down here is super close. This one is like kind of behind her. The only one that's really close to Twee is the one in her hand. So that's the only one that should be focused, because it is in line with Twee right here. So yeah, there is the before and after of the disco balls. There's no real formula I followed here to have them fly around. A lot of you advanced photographers probably understand that was just random. It just kind of happened. I just wanted some small ones, I wanted some large ones to create, you know, some foreground depth, and it just feels like it's such a moment with her hair flowing like this as well. It just feels like there's movement happening, and it adds so much to the image. My next layer here is dodging and burning. So it's pretty light. This was still my phase of using the curve tools to add some highlights. Here we go, there's my dodging, and then I used some burning right here. Also, you guys probably think that I skipped my frequency separation layer, but I don't think I actually did it for this photo because Twee has amazing skin and the light was just right, and I didn't really have anything to correct here. So thank God, that saved me so much time. Dodge and burn, there it is. I also added a nice blue flare here. Let's check it out. Yeah, so that's just some extra like blue sunlight coming in, and you wouldn't really know it's blue, it just kind of looks pale, but I did that by applying this flare effect I have. You can see it there. And then I just took down the saturation and I brought my hue all the way to the left, which turned red all the way blue. I did that just to kind of play into the fact that the sun is coming down from the left side of the image, and it just felt more natural, felt more clean, and I just wanted to make it a bit more concise and more realistic with like the light bleeding in, because I don't know, it just looks like it's hitting the disco balls from the left side, and I just love the way it looked. All right, last but not least, you guys know my final adjustments are the exposure and coloring adjustments, and I use my favorite layers, which are selective coloring, hue and saturation, vibrance, curves, exposure, color balance, and of course color lookup. All right, so I'm gonna walk you through what we did here. Did we even do anything? Yeah, so I changed a little bit. I made her skin a little orange, and I made the cyans like a little teal and the blues a little teal. I also messed with my yellows because her skin was registered under the yellow color. So there's the before and after of the selective coloring. Next is saturation. I don't believe I did anything in here, but I'm gonna click through real fast. Okay, yeah, nothing in the hue and saturation as usual. You know what? After filming a few of these episodes, I think we're gonna stop using the hue and saturation layer and just take it out of my action because I never end up using it. Like, what the heck? I did, however, use my vibrance layer, which I use every single time I'm editing a portrait. I dropped by saturation just a tiny bit, -2 here, and then I added +22 vibrance just to give us a little more kick in the colors. And here's the fun part, the curves adjustment. I use this to make my images more punchy, punch my highlights, punch my midtones, and then drop my shadows just to give it a nice contrasty feel. So let's unmute that. Boom, okay. You can see that definitely is a huge change on the image. I know she looks a little orange right now, but just give me a chance to get to my color lookup and we will see a nice transformation. Here's some exposure differences that I made as well, just to really make the image more punchy. I boosted 0.24, and then I made my gamma correction 0.97 to add some more blacks to the photo. And like I said with my hue saturation, I also apparently am not doing anything with my color balance layer, so we're going to ignore that, and we're going to check out the color lookup. Boom, okay, so that just adds some nice red and pink tones to her skin instead of being more yellowy and orange. That's just the vibe that I like to go through with my skin tones. I like a more kind of like pink undertone, and it also made the sky, the blue, and the cyans more teal, which is the overall goal here. So I'm going to give us a little before and after. That was Lightroom, and that was Photoshop. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Behind the Edit. I hope that you liked it. I hope you guys are liking the series. More tutorials are coming out soon. Leave a comment down below if you have any specific questions or specific tutorials that you would like. And I will be releasing long form tutorials where you get to see everything that I edited step by step on a Patreon or on my website. So just give me some time to produce those for you guys. But for the time being, these are really easy for me to make, and I can make them, you know, at least once a week, so I can be on a consistent schedule for you guys. And yeah, okay. I'll see you in the next one. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, yeah, I love you guys. All right, bye.